Yes, I can now. Yeah, I've just sent it to him. Oh, do it as well. Cat's doing the Cat's going to be the red flag guy. Just going to leave it a commentate. That's how it's. Just... Yeah, I've told. Good luck.
All right, folks, and welcome to another great edition of Pole Position Racing, or PPR Esports, depending on how you like to say it. I'm your host, Best Teon, joined in a little bit by Capita Hood. He'll be relieving me halfway through today's endurance race. Today is going to be the fourth round live from the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, a 90-minute race. Folks, let me take you through everything we've got in store for you today. Before we do that, though, I want to take just a minute, if you're watching, to head over to the chat. We've dropped a link for our 12 Hours of Silverstone event we'll be hosting at the end of June to raise funds and awareness for the Huntington's Disease Foundation of the United Kingdom. It's a cause near and dear to our hearts, and anything really counts towards helping them fight that disease. Do check us out then, that link. Check us out in June. We'll be promoting that more and more as the weeks go on here. But today we'll be at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Stavelot, Belgium. Ignore that 22 laps, folks. It's a 90-minute endurance race with 2 mandatory pit stops. It's going to be 19 turns, 9 to the right and 9 to the left. I know that math's just a little off, but, I mean, can you really count all of these as turns? Perhaps. Circuit length is going to be 7 kilometers or 4.3 miles. There won't be any DRS today, so don't worry about that. We're racing in the GT3 class, which I will take you through just a moment. Quick little side-by-side comparison there, folks. The Formula 1 car versus a GT3 car. They are very different cars inherently, primarily on the basis that Formula 1 relies on aerodynamic grip, while GT3 cars rely on mechanical grip. Today we are going to be looking at the Porsche 911 GT3, pictured there on the right. That's the Renault on the left. It's Daniel Ricciardo. I'm sure you'll recognize him. So you can see the stat differences already, 0 to 60, difference of about 0.8 between the two, as well as the top speed of a Formula 1 car is already about 20 miles an hour higher, 30 miles an hour higher, than a traditional GT3 car. Weight, also a big factor. Almost double the weight. Formula 1 cars only come in at about 728 kilos. A GT3 car will weigh 1,200 kilograms. And the biggest difference always is the power plant. Formula 1 cars use a 1.6-liter V6 turbo hybrid, giving it that distinct turbocharged sound. But today we're going to be looking at the Porsche, which has a 6-cylinder boxer rear-mounted engine, which produces 460 horsepower. Very different power plant indeed. We are going to go live now to the track in just a moment, folks. In the meantime, do check out that link in the chat, and we cannot wait to give you some great on-track action today. All right, folks, here we are now live again from the circuit. Let me make sure that my audio is in fact coming through. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, it is. Good to see, good to see, good to see. You can see a lot of our drivers are going to be getting ready in about 10 seconds to head out for the qualifying session here at Spa-Francorchamps. Of course, for the race today, the rules are 2 mandatory pit stops. So do expect to see maybe some varying strategies. Some drivers may opt to go on a lighter fuel load at the start and pit earlier. Some will maybe want to go on a heavier fuel load and pit later in the race. It really is up to the team and the driver. You know, it's kind of a strategist's wet dream in a sense, because you get to have so much variety with how you decide to race. I know for me, I've never ran a race this long. I usually only run Formula 1, so it's usually kind of set and done about managing your battery and your fuel. Not quite the endurance math problem that GT3 can be. So far, though, a couple of cars out on track finishing up their free practice laps, I believe. Let's see here. There may be some delay, folks, in the qualifying and practice here, it would seem. Not quite sure what to make of that. We got a couple cars on track. Ah, there we go.
Green light, show them what you got.
There we have it, folks. Ah, yes, there we go. Out of the pit lane. We're running now, live from Spa. It's time for qualifying today, folks. Obviously, being an endurance race, qualifying is important, but race pace usually in these situations are your best friend, because you'll just be looking to make up time. But farther up the grid you are usually means the more incidents you can tend to avoid in the first corner. Spa is no stranger to first turn incidents, especially heading into La Source and up through the run at Eau Rouge Raidillon Complex before the Kemmel Straight. This is definitely a power track, folks. Spa known for its long straights. Corners do kind of set up your acceleration and kind of how to carry your momentum through a lot of these long, bendy turns. So do keep an eye out for that. You'll see guys going out on various fuel loads. So some cars at the beginning of the race might seem to be much slower than before. On board now with Patel in that Aston Martin Vantage. Got a lot of different cars out on track today, folks. Nice clear qualifying here. Expect to see lots of drivers really pushing it once they're on their push laps. Getting the tow here is vital. If you've got a teammate, you'll probably want to use him as a bit of a battering ram. Let's see. On board now with Patel as he's still on his out lap. So Bentley Continental hot on his tail, looking to get his flyer started, but he'll just back off now. All right, folks, it's a long run to the bus stop chicane. Let's see, on board with Patel in that Aston Martin. Let's see, can he take this left-hander flat out? I think he's going to try to. Might have to lift just a touch there. He's kept it on the track. Well done. Into the bus stop chicane now. A little bit of traffic ahead. Let's hope it's not too much problem. Hard on the brakes. Dropping that down into first gear. Over the first curb. Taking that well. Over the second curb. Getting a good run. And it's going to be hard on the power now, folks. No DRS in these cars, of course, folks. These are just your plain old road cars. They don't have any kind of gimmicky things like that. Into La Source. Let's see how he takes that. Really neat. Really well done. A little bit of tow from the car ahead. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's go on board now for the run up through Eau Rouge and Radillon. How brave can he be? Going to go right to the left, back to the right now. Let's see if he hits these apexes right. Turning in early. Good. Finding that right side apex. Riding the left one. Oh, and he's almost, wow. Taking that beautifully, keeping his foot down. Now it's a long run down to the Kemmel Straight for the downhill portion of the Spa track. Let's see. Car's going to be fired all the way up. Braking at the start of the curb and turning in. Riding that inside curb there. As well as they're keeping it in second gear. Look for a short shift to third maybe on the exit here. There you have it, folks. On the power now to the downhill right-hander. Probably one of the trickiest braking zones on the track, as the asphalt does tend to fall away from you. Does create for an interesting corner now. Into the downhill left-hander. Let's see how he's going to take this one. Nice and tidy through there as well, using all that exit curb now. Double apex left-hander coming up. Hitting the brakes just a bit, dropping it down to third. Finding the first apex. There's a second one right there. Well done. Into the right-left. Barely a chicane, honestly. It's just more of a curve. Taking that one beautifully. Again, this Aston looking very planted today. Car's nice and fired up now. It's into the bus stop. Keeping it flat through the left-hander. Taking a nice little piece of that inside curb, really keeping that wheel over. Really getting the most out of the mechanical grip of that Aston Martin. Turning in, good, taking a nice chunk at both those curbs. Nice wide exit on the power. Let's see where this is going to put him. P1, there you have it, folks. Time to beat by Ketan Patel and the K-Hits Racing Team. 119. 119 is your time to beat. An excellent lap, a stellar lap from the Aston Martin driver. Portis, though, just pipping him, it would seem, in the Ferrari. Let's see if I can't find him on track anywhere. We got Brian Faluna out on track, Sosa out on track, Jay Warren out on track. I believe it was Sosa and Portis who got into it at the last race at Brands Hatch, which sent someone flying into the barrier. Banfi's going to go P2 right there in the incredible Hulk-colored Porsche. Spa really is just a sensational track, and it looks even better in this video game. Got two cars just parked right there at the chicane for some reason. 7 minutes to go in qualifying, folks. Your provisional pole sitter is McCall with Faluna front row with him. Behind them, Banfi, Mirsky, Couch, Portis, Coffin, Mowry, Johnson, and Patel. Bringing up the rest of the field is Alfa Hau, Alves, Riders, Orpis, Blommel, Ruiz, Sosa, Walker, Warren, Sierra, Benedict, Lopez, and Shade. Chantal's going to go for another flyer here. Latter half of this qualifying session. Couple cars in the pit. The Shade Brothers joining us yet again. They had quite the fascinating race at Brands Hatch last week, really getting into it with some of the Porsches. Ooh. Miguel's just going to pull off the circuit there, curiously. Maybe he's getting a phone call. Ooh, Couch in the Audi right now. Sitting P4. Let's hear that. Wow, that Audi engine sounds great. Oh, almost getting a little unsettled there through the end of the complex, though. Kemal Straight getting a great slipstream from Riders, who's just going to be kicking himself, letting his opponent... Oh, but Couch is going to back off. Looks like he almost lost power there for a second. Orpus in the Porsche, trying to get back in the fight now. Can see, almost feel those rear tires of the Porsche wanting to slide out from underneath him. Miguel Ruiz of Princess Racing. Also an this is a Bentley, actually, excuse me. I wonder if it comes with seat warmers. I'm just kidding, folks. Key to a race at Spa really is just not falling out of the slipstream. Since it is one of those very slipstreamy tracks, cars do find themselves following each other for long portions of race. But you do want to use it to the best of your advantage and not find yourself fighting with cars behind too much, as that will slow you down quite a bit. These cars, you can do just a little bit of bump drafting, not too much, but it's definitely not going to be, get anyone bent out of shape too much if they're getting a boost from the car behind. Let's see now, Ruiz across the line. Still going to be sitting P4. Or was that his first flyer? Could have been. Best, it's going to be 2:18.7. 2:18.7. Looks like our boy Sosa heading back to the paddock, maybe? Certainly looks that way. Maybe I'm tripping. Is I think this pit exit... Oh, yeah, it's not just a traditional Formula 1 pit exit. They actually have to go all the way around. Ah, never noticed that before. Yeah, and then it spits you out right there at the top of the hill on the escape road through Eau Rouge. Interesting. Sosa is going to get out here probably for just one more flyer, looking to retain that pole position as best he can in that Mercedes AMG, which is popping with the green paint job. Looks fantastic. Take a quick look at our timing sheet, folks. There you have it. Sosa is going to be our provisional pole setter with a 2:18.4, 2:18.4. And behind him would be McCall with a 2:18.6, only separated by about 2/10 there. Faluna with a 2:18.687. And behind him, Ruiz with a 2:18.786. So, if you haven't bought a lottery ticket today, folks, maybe now's your chance. Most drivers setting about 3 or 4 fast laps here, but fastest guy's going to be lapping, low 220s, high 2-teens. And then back of the field looking to be doing it around 220-ish, 220-ish. 222 is time at the back. Only drivers have yet to set a time: Sierra, Lawrence, Benedict, and Ginks. 5 seconds to go, folks. Sosa now, across the line. Best is 2:18, his last was a 4:18. On his flyer now, let's go on board in that Mercedes, taking it through Las Source, keeping it in first gear. Oh, he's going to go a little deep on the apex. But let's see if he tries to make it up on the exit now. It's the run up to Eau Rouge. Getting the power down in that V8 bi-turbo. One of the girthiest boys on the track, without a doubt now. You can hear it. Keeping his foot planted there. Looks like Faluna's just going to pop him for pole position. But let's see if Sosa's going to throw down the gauntlet now. Down the Kemmel straight. On the brakes. Look, he's looking for an early apex there almost. Trying to get a clean run through the chicane. Yes, and he's done it. Short shift down to third probably. Yep. Ride all that exit curb up to fourth. And the downhill right-hander. Downshift twice. There you have it, folks. Not wanting to downshift one more time and scrub any more momentum off. Let the car ride it out in second. Up to third. Keeping it in third. Now up to fourth on the exit. There you go. Using all the exit curb to his advantage. Double left, downhill left-hander. Let's see. On the brakes. And he's just going to pull off. There you have it. Sosa's not going to attempt to reclaim pole position. I'll put him back at P2, sharing the front row with Faluna. Anyone else still on a flyer? Looks like Chris going to try to get another lap in there. Maybe McCall on a flyer right now. Time to beat, folks. 2:18.6. 2:18.6. A little bit of traffic ahead. Late on the brakes in that Aston, turning in. Ooh, shallow run through there. On the power now. 2:16.17. And looks like he's just going to get it, folks. Oh, but not good enough. McCall going for the late flyer there. 2 minutes to go till race time, folks. Again, live from Spa. This is pole position racing. Assetto Corsa Competizioni. Hour and a half endurance race. Some drivers to watch today, folks, if you're new around here. Faluna, a bit of a dark horse candidate. He had a bit of a tough outing at Brands Hatch, but you can definitely keep an eye out for Sosa to always be in the mix. He's been one of our fastest drivers of the year. Down the rest of the field, let's see here. Sierra, I don't see him quite listed, but he's usually pretty quick in that GTR of his. Also keep an eye out for Portis in the Mardi Gras Racing Ferrari. He's kind of been a bit of a fan favorite in my opinion. It's not every day you can see someone who can, celebrate a holiday like that on their race car, but I respect the hustle. I'm seeing in the chat, folks, there's been a server glitch, unfortunately, so I'm going to mute my commentary for just a moment, leave you with a nice aerial view of the track while we get to the bottom of what the issue is. Just a moment. apologies, folks. Sorry about the lack of sound. It would seem my mic has been muted for the better part of the last 30 minutes. Yet again, another audio mistake. But I'll be here for just a few minutes longer to catch you all up on all the things that have happened so far. Earlier, we were looking at the midfield battle between Mirsky and Portis and Blommel. Nice little Ferrari trio getting in on the mix there. Sosa and Faluna in a duel of wits, it would seem. Brian opting to pit for the undercut earlier. Sosa decided to stay out. Sosa got the upper hand, came out one whole Kemmel straight in front of the Porsche driver. So keep an eye on those two down the stretch here. McCall, on the other hand, has been waiting in the wings all day on the heavier fuel-loaded Aston Martin, who sat in P3, P4 for most of this race, is now up in P1 and not even thinking about his first stop for a while, instead opting for a long first stint in that scarlet red Aston Martin. Lopez, though, looks like he's catching up to Banfi now. Sosa in to make his second stop, it would seem, looking to make a long second stint. So that will promote Brian up to P5, I believe, if I can find him. Who knows? Let's go back. Nice little trio forming right here. Benedict and Orpis really not getting into it with each other much today. Banfi and Lopez, same thing, just too far apart for it to really make much of a difference. Coffin coming off real bad earlier in that incident at the chicane. He was the spin at the top of Eau Rouge. That's right. McCall, though, cool as a cucumber, still sitting P1. Of course, folks, you will be hearing Capita Hood, or at least you'll be hearing most of Capita Hood for the second part of this race. Apologies again for any of the audio issues we may have been experiencing today, but I did come here at the very end to tell you all about our great race. Folks, again, leading us is McCall. Behind him is Banfi, Lopez, Benedict, Faluna, Couch, Ruiz, Jay Warren, and Johnson and Portis. Bringing up the rest of the field is Mirsky, Blommel, Alves, Sosa, Walker, Coffin, Ginks, Sierra, Riders, Patel, and Orpis. Folks, also, if you can see in the YouTube chat, there's a link to the Giving Tree for our race that we're going to be hosting on June 27th. Come check us out. It will be in support of the Huntington's Foundation, Huntington's Disease Foundation of the United Kingdom. Excuse me just a moment, folks. Here. McCall still leading us here. 46 minutes left in the race, folks. And we are approaching dusk here at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Oh, Ruiz, like he's going to get the move done on Ginks. Yes, he has. Ginks, of course, being a back marker. But Mirsky back in the fight, trying to catch up to Portis here. Lopez is going to go into the pits.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
All right, folks, there you have it. 45-minute mark. We'll be joined shortly by Capita Hood. Folks, it's been a pleasure to have you join me today. Sorry you didn't hear my audio for about 30 minutes of this race. I apologize. I'll have to take a look into getting that fixed for the next race. But I am your host, Best Teon. Thank you for joining, and as always, do be sure to stay classy out there, folks.
Here we go. Starting stream.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's catch you later.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, folks. Sorry for that brief intermission. We got a new commentator in the box, as this is a very long race, so we're gonna try and give our voice boxes a bit of a rest. I'll be going here till the end of the race. My name is Capita Hood, aka Jamie Lawrence. You may see me in a previous edition of this series. I'll be occasionally popping in driving as well. Sosa's down in P12 now. Drivers are required to make 2 stops, I believe. Originally was proposed for 1, but the server mandatory made it 2, so plenty of position changes going on. Go up to Brian Faluna, who's been on a roll this entire race. He had a couple battles with Sosa early on, but looking pretty strong throughout, as he's now approaching the back of Benedict. We'll stay along with them, as we know he has the pace to make the pass. As Benedict will go to the inside, defensive into the hairpin. Brian Faluna right on his back now, trying to pull up alongside, possibly up through Eau Rouge. And he'll hang back to follow him for the Kemmel Straight, using all of the track possible. Trying to use that slipstream a bit far back though. We'll see if he can make some kind of move. Benedict trying to break that slipstream. Benedict goes to the inside now. Brian tries to go around the outside, late on the brakes there, as McCall gets a 30-second stop-go penalty, possibly for corner cutting. Benedict will stay in the lead at the moment. But here comes Brian, possibly up the inside. Side by side now, through the right-hander. A little bit of contact. Benedict still on the left side. Brian gets ahead now. Benedict will tuck in behind. And Faluna gets out in front, back up into P3. We'll go ahead and see what happened to McCall down there if we can. Luckily, our track is all mixed up. He's hanging out in the pits. Not sure entirely what happened there. See if there's any more close action on the track as we navigate through our field. Everyone's fairly spaced out. King's had a bit of a rough start all the way in the back. He's making his way back up. A couple of close cars here as Portis and Merksky. Followed by Blommel, who I know has the pace to make up a few positions here. Excellent ping, I might add. We've got 39 minutes left in this race. Porsche's looking good up front right now, top 3, although that can vary based on their pit stops. I'm unsure of the number of pit stops everyone has taken. I know Brian Faluna has at least one. He's relatively leading the race at the moment. Still plenty of time left for possible mistakes to happen. So we have Sosa on a charge back up, gaining on riders now. Comes up the inside. He'll make that move nice and easy as Walker does indeed go wide there. Sorry, that is riders at a blue flag, so he'll get by nice and easy. Not for position there. All of our drivers spaced out quite evenly around the track. So we make sure our stream is doing okay. One moment. There we are. Now on board with Ginks, our PPR veteran. He's been around for a while. Very avid in the GT3. Part of Skywalker Racing Incorporated. That car sure does look like it's a part of something from that saga. It's got a nice livery there. Looks like Banfi has decided to pit, so we'll go up with Brian now as he looks to try and retake that lead up into P1. Beautiful shot of Radion up onto the Kemmel straight. There it is. Brian does indeed inherit P1. He's got a solid lead so far. As Ruiz trying to gain on Couch now. The battle for P3 at the moment. As Banfi gets a 30-second stop go. Not sure what that's about. Could be corner cutting or some pit lane violation. Ruiz trying to hop onto that podium now. These two qualified quite near each other, so they definitely have similar pace. As Ruiz gets a nice exit there right on the back of Couch. Could possibly make the move going to the final chicane. Tucking in for that slipstream. Could look to the inside. Couch goes a little defensive there. Ruiz on the outside. We'll back off a little bit, let him go through. Could possibly look for the switchback now. They're side by side. Ruiz going to the pits as well as Couch. And Ruiz will stay behind. A little dicey action diving to the pits there. But Ruiz isn't able to make the move, and Couch stays ahead. So I believe this should be their final pit stop, as we have 30 minutes left. Meanwhile, Brian's way out in front there, approaching some back markers, so we see how he can navigate through these guys. Rocking a solid purple livery there. As the sun begins to set here in Belgium. One of the most beautiful tracks in my opinion. Great to drive, awesome flow. We had our iRacing ELMS race here this past weekend, the 6-hour endurance event. So we've seen plenty of Spa-Francorchamps this weekend. This being our last official event of the weekend as the sun sets here. Brian's still closing in now on these back markers. We'll hop up now and see where Couch and Ruiz are as they come out of the pits. That is a very long pit stop here. Opting for tires, I suppose. As Ruiz gets out way ahead. So Ruiz is already way out the pits, so he must have put in a little bit less fuel or opted for no tire change there. So Ruiz will get that position ahead of Couch, as he seems to be warming up his tires on his outlap here. Let's see where Faluna's at now, though. Up, Radion. Inching ever so closer to Orpis. He'll seem to back off there a little bit. Possibly doing some fuel saving technique. Blue flags are officially waving. We'll see if Orpis will put up a challenge. He'll get out the way very easily. Stays very wide there. Faluna up the inside. Nice and clean, just how we like to see it. Faluna extending his gap now. 13 seconds last time the relative was updated. Continuing to pull away from Benedict. Sosa down in P7 now, trying to make his way back up. As we saw, him and Faluna had a great battle at the start of the race. Back and forth. A little bit of contact here and there. Looks like Faluna is smooth sailing at the moment. We'll hop around and see if there's any other battles on track at the moment. So this is all by himself out here in P7. Most of our drivers just having a nice little Sunday drive all by themselves. Not too many battles going on at the moment. Couch, possibly on those fresh tires, is looking to close in on Benedict now. She's closed that gap immensely. This is for position, so Benedict will not be getting over quite easily, even though Couch definitely has the pace. As the track temperature must be dropping a decent amount here as the shadows begin to cover the track. We'll see our driver's pace increase just a bit. As here comes Couch right on the back of Benedict. We'll see what happens here. He goes to the inside possibly. Sticks his nose out, but will not make a move yet. Stuck in behind. Stay in that slipstream. Benedict taking a very short line there, so we'll see if Couch can go for the inside in this next turn. Keeps his head in, putting the pressure on, but Benedict will stay ahead at the moment. Goes a little wide there, making a bit of a mistake. Couch opting to capitalize on this. Will not make the move. As Benedict goes a little bit wide there, so here we have Couch coming up now on the outside of the next corner. Benedict staying ahead. Couch is getting compromised here from his lap time. His pace is slowing as he goes on the grass a little bit there. Able to keep the car under control though. Benedict doing a good job of staying ahead at the moment. Go back on board with Couch. Seems to get a solid exit there. Benedict with a lovely amount of ping there. Bit of a lift from Couch before going into his left-hander. See if Benedict goes defensive. He does. Couch will back off though. Try to look for a little bit of a cutback. Will stay behind. Meanwhile, Johnson's coming up as Couch goes to the left side. Now on the outside into the hairpin of turn one. Side by side, Benedict will concede. And Couch will get ahead. Couch, of course, getting blue flags even though he has a quicker pace, so he will pull away now. Already a substantial gap ahead of the current P2 runner of Benedict. But now we have C. Johnson in the McLaren. His turn's next now. He's got the pace. Try and make a move. We got a blue flag there. Not sure what that is about. Looks like Orpus may have gone off. Benedict up in a P1 now as Brian has pit. Brian Faluna has pit. So we'll drop him back a little bit. Benedict all over the place as we have Johnson now right on his tail. Looking to make a move as quick as possible. As Benedict gets a little bit of oversteer there. It's going very wide. There goes Johnson up his inside. They're still side by side. Cody Johnson will just edge ahead now. As Orpus is going a bit off track there. We'll see if Johnson goes up the inside. He does. Orpus will back off as he's a blue flagger. Back marker there, and they'll get ahead. Quite all right. Meanwhile, Brian's in the pits, and we'll see now if so Brian will come out of the pits now. Quite a decent amount behind Sosa. I'm not sure if Sosa has had a second stop yet. These two pulling ahead. I know Benedict still has one stop left. I believe those markers on the side next to their numbers indicate number of stops left. So I suppose Benedict will have one left. But I could be completely freeballing that and have no idea. We'll find out soon enough, depending on when they pit. We'll follow along this battle with Lopez and Ruiz. Keep a close eye on it. see if there's any other close battles going on at the moment. Orpus has opted to pit now. And Mercy has opted to pit as well, so I believe my hypothesis was incorrect, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Those numbers could mean anything. So Mersky dives in the pits, which will promote Alves, Sosa, and Faluna all up a position. Judging by Benedict's pace, I believe he has to pit again, as he may be on very worn tires. Sosa rounding the first corner, going up into Radion. We'll go back to the Lopez and Ruiz battle, as Ruiz seems to be pulling ahead slightly of Lopez. As Ruiz now is definitely pulling away, solidifying himself in that P6 position. Sosa up into P3, Brian Faluna up into P4. After the pit stop from Mersky. So we'll see if Alves and Benedict pit. Benedict staying out for another lap. We've got 22 minutes left in this race. Plenty of time to go. It's 8:40 p.m. currently. The sun is still shining quite well, but the shadows are creeping in. Seen Benedict doing a bit of fuel saving there. Lifted a bit before his braking zone. Could be playing the long game here. Although with 2 mandatory pit stops, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. As we have, oh my goodness, Ginks seems to have gone off there. Sorry, not Ginks, Couch has gone off. So that's cost him quite a lot of time there. We'll see if we can see any damage from our camera angles. Looks like his hood is a bit split there, so it definitely may have hit the wall, which could compromise his pace greatly. Not too sure of how immense the damage model in Assetto Corsa Competizione is, but I'm sure smacking the wall after flying up a Radion can't be too great for your pace. Alves now has pit, so that'll give Sosa the lead once Benedict pits. Unless Benedict decides to stay out, he could be on for ultimate strat here. Sosa now inherits P2. And he's on a great pace for a possible P1 at this point, depending on the strategy of Benedict. You can see the sun setting, getting in the driver's eyes. We'll test these drivers to see how well they can adapt to changing weather and lighting conditions. And hope none of them are using shadows as braking points, because those do change quite often. So Brian about 20 seconds back from Sosa. We know they have pretty similar pace, so Sosa could be in for a solid finish here. As Alves gets a 30-second stop go as well. This must be from pit entry, possibly speeding in the pit lane, as I've seen a couple guys pitting and getting these penalties as well. So Mirsky will come out in P7. Jay Warren up into P6 now. So now we have Kenneth Portis trying to stay with Mirsky here. After Mirsky did come out the pits, he should have, I'm assuming, fresh tires and will be pulling away from that P8 position. Meanwhile, Benedict's still out. We got 18 minutes left here. Kenneth Portis trying to catch up, stay with him. Some solid pace from these guys now, as the track is definitely cooling. We have Benedict finally pitting. So he will drop from P1. We'll see where Sosa is on the road. He's coming up to Patel now, giving him an old flash, letting him know he's there. Patel, oh my goodness, looking to get out the way. Bit of a swerve there. Could have been bad news for both those drivers, but Sosa will get ahead and will pass Benedict, who is in the pits for his final stop, and inherit P1. Meanwhile, Patel down in P16, doing a good job of getting out the way for our newly inherited leader. As Brian's just now crossing the finish line, so he's 23 seconds back, so he's staying pretty solidly behind Sosa. Not looking like he's gaining too much here. All Sosa has to do now is stay clean for the next 15 minutes. And he should be in for a solid podium. And most likely win. We don't want to jinx that, though, here in the commentary box. We'll see where Benedict does come out, though. Seems to be P5, just behind Lopez, and Jay Warren gets ahead. Sierra trying to pull up now. Benedict trying not to cross the white line. So he'll be back behind Jay Warren. So Jay Warren will inherit that P5 once the relative updates. As Ginks is right on the back there of Benedict. We'll get ahead. Ginks is unlapping himself as Benedict comes out. Jay Warren up into P6. Sorry, P5. My mistake. We have our live relative on track now. "14 minutes left here in this race. Brian is now solidly over 20 seconds back from the leader in Sosa. So it looks like Lopez has fallen back to Ruiz. So Ruiz is solidly in P3 at the moment. Sosa's put down 31 laps here. So there seems to be a yellow flag. I'm not sure exactly where. Track is all clear now. Sosa getting a little dicey between the back markers now. He's got to keep it nice and steady as to not cost himself any kind of win. Sosa putting in a 2:19.6. Solid lap there. We'll see what Brian does as he crosses the line. When I say Brian, I mean Faluna. We just all know him as Brian. He's the man. Crosses the line. He does a 2:19.8. So slowly slipping back from Sosa. See if Sosa can navigate these guys. It's Walker, who's down in P11. Got some solid pace here. Meanwhile, Blommel's right on the back of Portis. This is a battle to watch for sure. So try and make a move here. This is for P6. Looks to the inside, poking his nose in there, putting on the pressure as much as possible now. Got 11 minutes left. Joe Blommel looking to make the move. Right on the back of Portis. Looks up the inside, side by side through the hairpin. Tuck his nose in. Portis will get the better exit though on the outside. They're still side by side. Side by side through Eau Rouge and up Radion. Portis will stay ahead though, using all and of the track and then some. Blommel will have to tuck behind. And now we have Victor Merckx getting a good run now because of that compromise. And will pull ahead up into P7. Blommel stays on the outside though. Merckx staying side by side will get ahead and up in front of Blommel. So what looked to be an overtake from Blommel to P6 is now Blommel down to P8 and Merckx up into P7. Portis gets away now. And we'll see if Merckx can come back and cop that P6 position. Solid move there by Merckx. They hang back, wait for the mistimed exit, and catch him on the Kemmel straight. the battle for P6 definitely is on now. That's Victor Mirsky. As Lopez has now decided to pit. Not entirely sure what that's about, but that'll promote our drivers up another position in the battle that we're talking about. So it'll be the battle for P5 momentarily, as Mirsky's looking for a move now. Pokes his nose in the inside, compromises Portis' run, and will get the move done nice and easy. Portis comes back though on the inside. Mirsky around the outside. Blommel now looking to make something happen as they now go side by side into turn 1. Blommel trying to get this move back now as he laid on the brakes there. Portis will let him by. Portis back down into P8. As our helicopter's trying to figure out who to watch here. Now they've all shifted up a position, so Portis up into P7, Blommel into P6. Mirsky into P5. Looks like no overtaking will be done here on this straight as they're all evenly spaced out. So Mirsky and Blommel getting the position done late into that corner though. And here comes Portis now. A compromise run through that sector gives Portis the opportunity to try and fight back for that P6 position. Looks like Blommel will solidly have the position nice and easy though. Looks like Brian has closed in as Sosa is now indeed pitting. So our leader is pitting, and that'll promote Brian Faluna up into P1 with just 7 minutes to go. We'll see where indeed Sosa does come out. He possibly only had one of his pit stops. As Sosa's now cruising through the Grand Prix pits. Or the Endurance pits, I'm not sure what they're called. But the full pit, which takes a very long time here. In iRacing, I know it took about 2 minutes to go all the way through, including the pit stop. So basically a full lap, which could promote Ruiz up into P2. Take a look. It is, so Ruiz up into P2. Jay Warren now. Just getting by. They'll come out side by side almost, neck and neck. So we'll see what Jay Warren does here. As Sosa exits the pits, he'll be full speed. Come on board. We'll see Sosa coming out the pits now. This is the battle for P3. Sosa not as much speed, but Jay Warren trying to get past him. Sosa will stay ahead though. Jay Warren hot on his tail now as these guys are fighting for the podium with just 6 minutes left to go. Jay Warren looking to capitalize on this late pit stop. Meanwhile, Brian's way out in front in the lead. Jay Warren doing a good job of staying with Sosa. A little bit of curb there may have cost him some time. Sosa, of course, one of the quickest in this league. You can see he's slightly pulling away from Jay Warren. Hard to keep up with him in that dominant car. Jay Warren falling back a bit here. Almost a full second now. It looks like Sosa will comfortably have that position. Jay Warren not too far back though. He's putting some pressure on. If he can push hard, can look to force Sosa into an error. Sosa has an early turn in there. Jay Warren will have a nice little run right on the back of him. Here comes James Warren now in the Porsche. Bit of lift there. Will have to cut the corner and definitely compromise his run there, so he will not get the move done this time. Sosa will pull ahead. Going up Radion with old tires on this track in a GT3 car can be very risky, depending on how you take your line. Jay Warren having to back off there. Hopefully he can stay with him still. And look for a move next time round. This our main battle on the track for P3 at the moment. Brian way out in front. Ruiz solidly in P2. Sosa in P3. Jay Warren in P4. Meanwhile, the battle for P5 has thinned out as Mirsky has pulled ahead solidly. Blommel 2 seconds back in P6. Portis in P7. As most of our drivers are now spaced out. James Warren trying to catch up and just keep up with Sosa. He's now 1.2 seconds back as Ruiz has just crossed the start-finish line. Looks like we'll have one last lap after this. We'll see if Brian Faluna does have the white flag. Looks like next time round will be as he crossed the line at about the 2:45 mark. So we'll have 2 more laps after this. Meanwhile, James Warren just a bit far back now. Let's see, he went a second a lap slower than Sosa there. Sosa pulled ahead. See if he can make anything happen now with the slipstream. As he goes, James Warren's been taking a nicer turn 1 than Sosa at the moment. He gained 2/10 on him in just there. As we can see, the lights are coming on and the sun has officially set. 10:04 p.m. here in Belgium. Jay Warren's dropped back tremendously there. 2 seconds, so he'll back off. Sierra lap down, possibly gaining as well. So it looks like Sosa has done well to try and solidify that P3. Well, now we'll go on board with Brian Faluna, who's cruising on ahead. Approaching his final lap. Comes up to the line. Let's see if we can see the white flag being waved. Yep, there it is, folks. So he's on the final lap now. White flag is in effect. Brian has got a substantial lead now ahead of Ruiz. Sosa down in P3. James Warren in P4. Falling back ever so slightly. Just off the podium there. Getting very dark now as we approach the end of this race. As we have someone coming out the pits. Portis, as Brian doesn't want to have any funny business on this last lap. Portis gets out the way nice and easy. He's down at P11 now. It's promoted Johnson up to P7. Couch up to P8. Lopez up to P9. And Walker up to P10. All Brian's got to do now is bring it home. He's got 32 seconds to spare, basically. You can see the LEDs of the purple Porsche coming on his front grille there. These guys have been racing for 90 minutes now. It's been quite a stretch of racing as we have 37 laps down from the leader. That is Brian Faluna in that Porsche. Comes onto the back straight now, just behind Riders, the back marker. If I were Riders, I would hop out the way so I wouldn't have to finish my race with another lap. But alas, here we are. We'll see what he does. Stays out in front at the moment. Riders will indeed go on for another lap as Faluna comes into the final chicane. Round the final corner, up onto the main straight. There you have it, folks. Brian Faluna will win the race as he wins our PPR ACC Spa Endurance race. He flashes his lights there. In celebration, we have Ruiz, of course, coming up as well in the Bentley. Round the final corner, securing that P2 finish. Solid drive by him. Solid strategy to come away with that second step on the podium. We have Sosa cruising down. Jay Warren's dropped back immensely now. So Sosa, if all things tidy, will come home nice and clean. Into the final chicane. We've got fireworks now firing off for this lovely celebration. Sosa in the Mercedes will come home in P3. Solid drive by him. Nice battles all around. We have Jay Warren cruising up the line as well. We'll take home that P4. Mersky, Blommel, and Cody Johnson cruising home for our top 6. Awesome job from all our drivers. Keeping it generally pretty clean here. Endurance races can get tough after 90 minutes. So congrats to all of our finishers who made it through. Couch coming home in P8 now. Lopez in that Bentley in P9. Walker, one of our last to finish now. Into the final chicane in the NSX. I think one of our lone NSX drivers. Solid job getting a top 10 finish there. Some solid points for his team. Riders finally coming around in P14 in that Lamborghini. Solidifies that P14 finish. So there you have it, folks. Looks like everyone indeed has finished. Benedict says he's still on a lap, but he's indeed just hanging in the pits there in P18. So Brian Faluna is your winner as that session is now restarting. There you have it, folks. We'll return to that garage. Solid race. So Brian Faluna, your race winner, followed by Ruiz in P2, followed by Sosa in P3. So solid race by everyone there. We're going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you all for tuning in for this endurance race. This has been PPR. I am Capita Hood, a.k.a. Jamie Lawrence, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.